this special Saturday edition of the 572 Hours to Go. The nominees sprinting across the battleground states that will decide Tuesday's election. Celebrities and even babies are turning out on the trail to lend a hand to Clinton and Trump. Let's take a look at their last 24 hours.
In 3 days, we are going to win back the White House. We don't need Jay-Z to fill up arenas, you know. We do it the old-fashioned way. I actually like Jay-Z, but you know the language last night.
Will we reject a dark and divisive vision for our future and embrace a hopeful, inclusive, unifying America?
Look at that baby, so cute. Oh, give me that baby. Future construction worker.
I want to be the president for everybody. Everybody who agrees with me, people who don't agree with me.
To all Americans, I say, it is time for change. It is time for new leadership.
Let's vote for the future. Let's vote for what we want for our country.
All right, only 2 points separate the presidential nominees, according to a brand new Fox News poll that was out last night. So this is it, Kimberly.
Yeah.
We're like, whew, we can count down the days. I'm so excited for my book tour trip next weekend. I already packed this morning.
Oh, you're
so
a very
I could be
good packer.
prepared because I am
Yes.
ready for this week to be over. What about you?
You're like the best packer ever. So yeah, like I will tell you something. That was real frightening. Can I just say the scream was like Howard Dean. She's like, I don't even know, channeling Howard Dean. And it was funny, just the juxtaposition, the baby, this, that, the whole deal. What?
You know what? Why she was screaming? She was possessed through the spirit cooking of John Podesta.
Exactly.
And Podesta's brother.
Yes. Last night, you know, they had Hex Mex. they actually stir-fried a Chihuahua.
Oh my gosh.
That's not true
That's
for
not
all
a
you
Fox
kids
breaking
listening
news
at home.
right
They had a ghost beef sandwich.
Can you summarize spirit cooking for us real quick?
Please see Greg's Twitter feed
There's some
last
performance
night.
art out there, allegedly, and not magic, just performance art, supposedly, that incorporates some aspects of magic and cooking and
The occult.
the occult and yeah.
And this is
whatnot.
and look it up because Eric did.
But here's
he's
the
right.
thing.
It came up in the
thing.
WikiLeaks.
It came up in WikiLeaks. Apparently, this performance artist, Marina something, can't remember her name, emailed John Podesta's brother, Tony and said, Tony, is John, your brother, going to join us? And I guess there was never an answer. So therefore, a lot is being made
I wonder
of
if they
this.
had risotto.
Important tip is always set your coven to 450 degrees.
My goodness.
or just stick with the Colorado brownies.
Well, Eric, we do know a little bit about how these two candidates are trying to close out the race based on where they're going. Because in the battleground states we've been talking about for the last year and a half are the battleground states that it's really coming down to. Especially, they're spending a lot of time in Florida and North Carolina, and of course both in Ohio.
Yeah, and obviously, so we'll know very early on if Trump doesn't win Florida, it's over. It's game over. Ohio, he has to win. North Carolina, he's up a little bit, so he's going to go back there a couple of times before Tuesday's vote. So if he starts to slide in Pennsylvania, which it looks like it's moving a little bit away from him, and doesn't shore up Michigan, Minnesota, or Wisconsin, he has that one path left of Iowa, Nevada, and New Hampshire, right? And there's one congressional district way up in Maine with one CD2, which is one vote. But that path brings it to him too. So there are a couple of ways he can do it. I tell you though, this jobs number that we talked about yesterday he should be on this. I looked into it, right? So Hillary Clinton saying, hey, look, this is great. Barack Obama saying, look, this is great, 4.9% unemployment rate. You look inside that jobs number, we lost 103,000 full-time jobs last month. 103,000 lost. We increased 90,000 part-time jobs. I mean, so it was 4 times worse than that the month before. What's happening is this economy under Barack Obama has gone from a fully employed economy to people taking part-time jobs, trying to pay for their own medical expenses. It's really bad for the vast majority of people.
Well, I must say the Wall Street Journal on their front page this morning sure had a different story to tell, because they talked about how great this was and especially focused on wages. Wages being up for the first time in, I guess, since '09. Wages going up, and wages going up for the middle class, and suggesting, boy, look at the good state of the American economy. Trump had hoped that some of this economic news would be not so good. But, you know, according to people who are economic analysts, not only in the Journal, but in the New York Times, Washington Post this morning, this was a very
But
good report.
Isn't that like saying like a child finally got his first meal after 2 weeks? It's like it's been since 2009. I mean, just by sheer randomness, you're going to get an increase if you just hang around
Yeah,
long
but
enough.
what we're talking about is a few days before the election. If that number had been bad, boy,
Yeah.
we
It
would
was
be
bad, though.
jumping. It is not bad. I think you're trying to spin something.
No,
here.
I'm not spinning anything. The analyst works to the same analysts that you think were a 2.4% wage growth for a month is fantastic after almost 8 years of stagnant wage growth. If that's good, those same analysts said we needed 175,000 jobs last month. We got 161, and most of them were part-time.
Here's the thing. The bottom line on this was that there's concern about what the Fed will do in December with regard to interest rates. And the Fed, apart from any politics, the analysis this morning was, well, now it looks like they are going to push up some of the interest rate because this is such good economic news for the American middle class. And consumer confidence up.
Can I bring Kimberly
It's
in
almost
here?
Christmas. Go ahead.
About there's been a lot of talk about gender politics, and last night on Bill O'Reilly's show, he correctly said you basically have to win. Trump would need to win 45% of the women vote in order to get his 270 in order to become president. And one thing that was consistent in research that I looked at was that women across the board, regardless of educational attainment, race, or where they lived in the country, their two number one issues were national security and personal finances. So it's not about the Fed or about part-time jobs and stuff. It's about those personal finances. Do you think there's anything that Trump or Clinton could do in the next 3 days that could get back on those issues?
She has, the advantage there with women. That's been shown and demonstrated consistently throughout this whole election process. But this is something that is one of his strongest points in terms of being a focus on jobs and the economy. And he needs to personalize that message to say that speak directly to the women out there, that he is the man that can make sure that they have food on the table and money in their wallet and, funds to be able to pay for schools, to be able to pay for health care, all of that, and the national security piece. Women care about security, and that's something where she's been proved, he can say, to should be distrusted, that she's been incompetent, that she's been reckless with our national security. If you drive those messages home, I think that's something where he can work. But except we're a couple days before the election now,
We
so
are.
problematic.
Greg, yesterday, over the last 2 days, the Wall Street Journal has editorialized about both candidates, not providing endorsements or non-endorsements of either, just laying it out there as they see it. Basically, they're called, the two editorials are called The Cost of Clinton, of which they list many, and then The Gamble of Trump, to which they say there's just so much that you don't know. And the last thing it says is on his is, another risk comes from negative impulses on the political right that Mr. Trump's meanest rhetoric has awakened, but that for her, she would face a Congress that wants to investigate her from the first day, an electorate that is polarized and does not trust her.
This election, Dana, is like an old bra. It's down to the wire, and it's getting under our skin. So you have.
Oh my God.
You have two
Do you
ways.
have experience with that?
Yes, yes. Well, when you stop lifting, things go. Two ways to look at this.
Oh my God.
What issue means most to you? If it's immigration, if it's terror, if it's the Supreme Court, then you could argue, does that negate the misgivings you have for your candidate, or does your candidate make those issues worse? That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it, which is how I look at it every day, is who hates you most? Like, I'm not crazy about Trump, right? Everybody knows that. But I know for a fact that Hillary and her camp, they hate my guts. The Hillary people, the most hardcore people, they hate us. So it's hard. It's like, I'm not crazy about Trump. I find some of his things just completely wrong. But at the same time, I know Hillary wouldn't throw me a life preserver if I was drowning. So that's where I am in all this.
Well, let me ask
Hope
you, what
you can
about
swim.
what about?
I'm holding onto my bra.
But here's the thing. What about the country?
Yeah?
I just think you have at some point, separate out Greg Gutfeld from this race, and you have to say, do you really, in terms of the future of the country, who do you trust most? Who do you trust with your, I have kids or grandkids or?
See, I don't have either, so it's all about me.
doesn't even have
It's
a
all
dog.
about you.
I don't even have a pet. But okay,
You
are
know
we
all
possibly?
have?
What?
We all have rights. We all have constitutional rights, and we don't want our constitutional rights changed or impinged. That's why, for me, being a single-issue voter with the Constitution and Supreme Court, then you have to side with the GOP and hold your nose, take your medicine, and vote for the GOP, and you may not love them.
Here's why I can't take that, man. To me, what you have in Trump is an authoritarian who's in the model of, like, somebody wrote Hugo Chavez or Vladimir Putin.
He put out-
But they
who
didn't
wants
have
to-
checks and balances.
checks and balances. He wants to go after the press. He talks about locking up his political opponent. That, to me, is disquieting.
You guys, guess what? We have an entire hour to talk about this race. So they're asking me to tease. Can I do that?
Well, no. Yeah,
I'm going to.
go
All
ahead.
right.
It's crunch time, and it's all about the battleground states in these final 72 hours for both nominees. They are crisscrossing the swing states, and Trump will appear in 9 of them in his final push and may even add another stop in Virginia. Clinton is stumping in 6 toss-up states before the big vote. We're hoping to check in with her campaign later. But first, we go to Denver to campaign Carl with the very latest on Trump's day. Hi, Carl.
Hi. The itinerary that he's taking really does speak to a strategy shift. Donald Trump today announced that he is not going to go to Wisconsin tomorrow. Instead, he'll go to Minnesota. And this has raised a lot of eyebrows and has a lot of people wondering whether that's smart or not. Minnesota has been a blue state for decades. That it is not a state that Trump has campaigned in, but it is one where what few polls have been taken suggest that the race may be tightening. So he's going to go there tomorrow and campaign there. He's also going to campaign in Michigan, another state that has been largely blue for a number of years. And by campaigning in states where Democrats have been favored, he hopes to appeal more to suburban voters and swing voters, moderates and independents across the country. But he's going to neglect some of the key battleground states where he absolutely has to win. He did start today in Tampa, Florida. I-4 corridor in a must-win state. Florida is one that he cannot afford to lose. He also knows that and that was one that Barack Obama beat Mitt Romney in Florida in 2012, so Trump has to flip it. He also has to flip Pennsylvania, a state that Romney did not win and Barack Obama did. And if he were to do that, all he would have to do is match the rest of the Romney map and he'd win the presidency. Ohio, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Florida are key. So there's big questions about whether it's smart, whether the gamble will pay off, or whether it's a mistake, and by going to Minnesota. Kimberly?
All right. Well, that's very interesting. So we love to talk about this. Thank you, Carl, so much. Okay. So, Eric, what do you think about this in terms of the strategy? He's saying, is it a mistake or is it going to work, and where he's going now?
Yeah. So there's so limited time right now. He's got 3 days. He can maybe make
Tight.
3 stops per day. You have to have Florida. You have to have Ohio. It looks like Ohio's okay. And the only thing, Michigan tightened nicely for him. So maybe he's thinking if Pennsylvania moves away from him, he can get Michigan. Minnesota, I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know. Maybe he sees Minnesota. That's 10 electoral votes there. Boy, maybe they see stuff internally. A lot of the polls that we read have different sort of methodology. We've talked about the methodology quite a bit. Maybe they're going with a different form of methodology, and they see areas that they can pick up. I honestly think, and I could be completely blown out of the water on this, I think there's going to be 5 surprise states on both sides. I think you're going to see maybe 3 Democrat blues going red, maybe 2 reds going blue, or maybe the other way around. I just think we're going to have a really interesting election night.
All right, Dana, what do you think about this strategy as Carl laid it out?
Well, I think that he has to flip some blue states, and I think that maybe they feel like Pennsylvania is not an option for them because some of the numbers coming out of there recently, like this morning, show that he's falling farther behind, and he does really well across the state except for in the Philly suburbs. So that's one of the reasons Melania Trump was there on Thursday. Yeah. So I also point out that he's going to Iowa. There's a new poll out today that it's tied with Clinton in Iowa. He does need Iowa. So I think that it's probably smart for him to just go ahead and try to do something and flip something like a Minnesota, which, remember, they voted for Jesse Ventura. They want outsiders. They like outsiders there. So it's not probably the worst idea I've ever heard.
All right. It's a strategy. I'm sure they know what they're doing. Okay, Greg, what do you think?
Well, I'm just depressed because nothing matters in my state. It's like if I vote for Hillary, it's like a shot glass of water in Niagara Falls. If I vote for Trump, it's like peeing in Niagara Falls. It feels great.
Gross.
It feels great, but it's at the end, it makes no difference. So I am jealous of everybody that has an impact on the election because I don't.
Okay, well, we'll work on that with your counselor later. Okay, so Juan, what do you think about the strategy? Does it surprise you that
Can
Trump's
I
going for
respond to Brother Greg for just a second?
about Niagara Falls?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
his underwear?
No, first of all, I don't swim in Niagara Falls for just this reason. but your vote does count. I know you're a New York voter, but you know what? Both sides want to drive up the percentages. They want a mandate, and they want people to turn out, no matter where you vote, to be able to say, I got X percent of the vote.
Yeah.
And potentially you could have a difference where the popular vote goes one way, the electoral college goes another. And that would therefore give your candidate some, traction in making that argument. So people do care inside the political apparatus. They do care. I wanted to
thanks.
just say.
Thank you for that public service.
Well, I
announcement,
just,
Very nice.
I love Greg, and I want him to feel that he
I feel a lot
he is
better.
loved
Greg.
in America. He
Yeah.
has purpose. I was just going to quickly say
Yeah.
that the other thing here that amplifies where they go is the surrogates. And again, this advantage is Hillary because there's so many Hillary surrogates, beginning with President Obama. But then you go on to people like Michelle Obama. Mark Cuban's been out for her. Bernie Sanders is out for her. John Lewis is out for her. Joe Biden is out for her.
Yeah, they got a team.
I
They
mean,
got a big
yeah,
team.
they got a-
Can I throw a fun stat at you?
Yeah.
Since 1928, 88 years, the stock market over the last 3 months leading into the election has predicted the president 19 out of 22 times. What it's done those 3 months, either the incumbent party stays in the White House if it's been up, or they get tossed out if it's been down. I'll just throw it at you. It's down 4.5% in the last 3 months.
All right. I saw Juan shaking his head. All right, well, stay right there if you would, please, because up next, we're going to answer any final questions that you have on the presidential race on the Social Media Saturday. Stay tuned.
Social Media Saturday. It's like Facebook Friday, but it's on Saturday. We got your questions posted on our Facebook page, and we're going to answer them on the election. I'm going to start with Kimberly because we're almost dressed alike, except my dress is a little tighter. All right. This is from Ryan.
As your underwire.
Yes. This is from Jennifer. This is from Jennifer L. Who would you love to be watching the election results with? They can be living or dead or undisclosed.
Or undisclosed. Watching the election. Well, I mean, wouldn't everyone like to watch an election with Ronald Reagan? Right.
Yeah. That's true. That would be fun.
Or Margaret Thatcher.
Yes.
And see if we have sort of a Brexit phenomenon here.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Who else?
Rodney
Also-
Dangerfield.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. How about General Jack Keane?
Well, he's alive. That's good.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah.
I like him.
Wanzo?
So I think Walter Cronkite, I read the other day, was 100 years old yesterday or something like that.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Yes.
But you said living or
Yeah,
dead.
living or dead.
Okay, so I guess it would be fun. I mean, it would be like, because I think Walter Cronkite wouldn't have a chance in this media political environment.
Yeah.
So he would be like flipping out. He'd be like, what?
Yeah.
They did what?
He would declare the election over before it was.
Yeah.
Just like he did with the war. We'll be right back, America. Eric.
Bill O'Reilly. I'm kidding. I'm just teasing. I would love to be watching the election with Mark Cuban.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause Mark's my friend. We've been going at this thing for a year and a half. First he liked Trump, now he likes Hillary, and just to be right next to him and just duking it out as the results came in, that would be.
Michelle would want to watch
You
it
could
with
also
him, too.
be with Fidel Castro and have it as a
Awesome.
Cuban sandwich. Dana?
I'm going to choose somebody that is not famous, but she's a very good friend of mine. It's
Jeannie?
Jeannie Mamo.
Me too, yeah.
So she's one of the smartest people on demographics in the country and politics. She always seems to get it right, and she's
Funny.
hilarious, and she has a great laugh.
Yeah.
It's very contagious, so I'd like it to watch it with her.
And she writes good emails,
And she's
too.
from North Carolina, so she could give us the scoop.
I would watch it with my mom because I still have no idea if she were alive.
Who'd you vote for?
Because I know that she would find Trump hysterical. And she's a conservative, but then she always used to call me after Red Eye and say that my show was too racy and it was too sexual and the women wore shirts, clothing that was too tight. So she had that side, but she liked people that caused trouble.
I think she would vote for Trump.
I don't know. I have no idea, but that's why I would like to
But
sit
she
with
lived
her.
in California, so
She's like straight
What?
talk.
Wouldn't
it might be
matter.
what you
It
said.
wouldn't matter. That's right. It wouldn't matter. All
I'd
right.
add my dad back in. That would be good. He loves
Yeah,
politics.
because then you'd want to know. And also get some free time with him.
Aw.
All right, Ryan S. will go this way. When they write the book on this election cycle, what will be the title, Dana? Dana?
3 letters.
I mistook you for Dana Bash. Sorry.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
I would do 3 letters.
What?
WTF.
What's that?
WTH.
F.
Hey.
I didn't say it. I said the letter.
Yeah. What happened to the girl
I
next
blame
door?
this bad influence on you.
I don't
Greg.
swear very often.
I didn't either.
No, that you didn't. F is not
doesn't
swear very often. All right, Eric.
On there.
Yeah.
I got this is good. So it's like this. You put both of their pictures,
Yeah.
Hillary and Trump, and one of them's you're hired. No, you're fired and you're hired. Whichever one.
There you go.
You could have them both ready to go to sell on the day
Exactly.
after
Just
Election Day.
flip
It's good marketing.
Yeah.
What do you?
Oh, I was writing a column about this, and I came up with "Jump the Shark" because I think this whole campaign it's beyond anything I've ever seen. So it's off the rails. Jump the shark. I think what you're seeing is one major political party in civil war and at war with itself. And then on the other hand, you have people who, I mean, we've never seen the kind of statements and behavior that's come out of Trump, and I've never seen anything like it.
What do you think?
Either that's incredible, your favorite,
Yes.
or Drain the Swamp. I like the Drain the Swamp.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
a
also like to watch this show, Swamp People.
Yeah.
So there's
You did?
something appealing. Yeah. I try and, work on my linguistic skills because if you can understand what they're saying, it's
Very good.
It's like learning a
I
different
would,
language.
I would choose Dianetics just for customer confusion. So I think that like people who would go get Dianetics would end up getting my book, and my book would be very helpful on the election.
As confused as we are right now.
Bait and switch.
exactly.
Bait and
Exactly. Would
I'll
help one
run.
person I know.
All
All
right.
right, Patrick P. Start with you, Mr. Bowling. What would be the 2020 presidential frontrunner for the losing candidates party?
Oh, who would be?
Who would be?
Losing candidates party. I would think if Hillary wins, it would be Paul Ryan. I would guess on the Republican side, and on the Democrat side, boy, I don't. It could be anybody at this point.
I thought you were going to say
Castro?
Warren.
Elizabeth Warren.
Es
Yeah.
posible.
Yeah, she's a good candidate. Yeah, you're right. I was going to say that.
One.
I think Rubio is still
Yeah.
well positioned on the Republican side. The thing is, he's this interesting mix of establishment and Tea Party. He was elected as a Tea Party guy, but he's become an establishment guy. Now he's back. He doesn't embrace Trump, but he's saying he's not. I don't know what he's saying about Trump, really. But anyway, I think he's trying to position himself. But the thing about it on the Republican side is the party is going to have to go through a big fight.
Yeah.
And so we'll find out. On the Democratic side, I like what Eric said. Did you say Castro?
I
Yeah.
I almost
He
said
did.
it. Kind of said it.
Yeah, I think.
Started
corrected
it.
me.
He thought it.
Raul or Fidel?
Oh, gee, that's a good point.
Well, they're a little too conservative for the Democrats.
Willian. So I think it would be Rubio or Ryan, depending on how things, shake out also with the House. And then on the Democrat side, I think for sure Elizabeth Warren has got momentum. But then again, so does Bernie Sanders. He had a huge following. I don't think ultimately he would be the nominee, but he still has his movement.
Oh, have you given up on Chris Christie after the verdict?
Yes, I think Chris Christie has moved on to, I won't say pastures, because that might be taken the wrong way. Dana?
I'm going to say, for the Democrats, I think it would be Governor Hickenlooper out of Colorado. Well liked there. They could go west a little bit, and they could get back to some, more conservative, moderate Democratic ideals. And then for the Republicans, I don't think it's anybody who's on the stage right now. I think it could be somebody who might be governor in 2017 in Virginia, and he's probably going to not be happy if I say this, but I think it could be Ed Gillespie.
I knew you were going to say that. And if they had given enough
be a
money
great choice.
towards his race, even a little bit more, he would have won.
He would have been in pole position this time.
I think Trump is going to have an impact on these choices, and they might not be who you think. The Democrat could be Kanye West. And the Republican...
Easy?
Yeah, the Republican could be...
Dierks Bentley?
Yes, or a Gary Sinise, or somebody like that, somebody that's not
Gary Sinise, that's
a normal
interesting.
politician.
Wow.
Yeah. Or,
Wow.
yeah, well, okay, sorry.
Are we like low energy 5?
Today on the trial, next.
Or trail.
It was a rainy day for Hillary Clinton on the trail. Trump had sunny skies. Both candidates have only 72 hours to weather the remaining storm of this election.
Now, my friends, you are a hardy bunch standing out here in the rain. I don't think I need to tell you all of the wrong things about Donald Trump. But here's what I want you to remember. I want to be the president for everybody. Everybody who agrees with me, people who don't agree with me, people who vote for me, people who don't vote for me.
To all Americans, I say it's time for change. It's time for new leadership. Can you imagine 4 more years of Obama, meaning high taxes, ISIS all over the place, radical Islamic terrorists, the whole thing? She will be worse than Obama.
Hey, Greg, what do you think about early voting?
I'm for it because there's a lot of people like in the military who need to do it. So I would, and I actually am an early voter, except I keep putting it off. So I have my ballot. I have my ballot on my desk right now because I'm lazy.
What you mean you're an absentee voter?
I'm an absentee bowler. I'm an absentee bowler. So I always forget to bowl. But I'm an absentee voter.
Saturday show.
Yes, Saturday show. Hey, can I?
Do you need like a B12 shot? I
Maybe.
think?
Can I make a long-winded metaphor? You know, this race is closer than Chang and Ang Bunker. Now, do you remember them?
Yeah.
They're the most famous conjoined twins. They were from Thailand. I think we have a picture of them. They both died at the age of 62 in 1874. There they are. You remember this picture, always in the Guinness Book of World Records. Here's why I bring this up. This is a very important point about America.
This is really weird.
They both had spouses, and together they fathered 21 children. How did these guys work this out? The answer is they worked it out. They had a compromise. You get the bed this night, I'll be on the floor. You know, it gives me hope for this country.
Excuse me.
I'm getting to my point.
Do you have pictures?
I'm getting to my point.
I thought you had pictures.
If Chang and Ang Bunker, two people in tough circumstances, could work together, I think America could do the same after this election. If they can come together, so can we.
Oh, my God.
And it's not even
What?
What is he doing?
What are you talking about?
What is wrong with me?
What are you talking about? I'm talking about unification.
All right.
Well,
You know what?
go-
All right,
yeah.
wait, let's restore
Jennifer
order.
Griffin.
We heard from our reporter with the Trump campaign earlier. So now let's check in on the Clinton campaign with Jennifer Griffin, live from Philadelphia. By the way, Hillary's going to be appearing there tonight with Katy Perry. Jennifer?
In fact, Juan, we just landed here in Philadelphia from Florida. If you look behind me, you can see the people just getting off the plane. Hillary Clinton might be coming out that door behind me just above where it says Stronger Together. What was interesting on the plane is that her campaign manager walked us through some of the early analytics of the early voting. They're feeling very good about Florida right now. They say that the early voting by Tuesday, there are about 60 to 70% of the vote in Florida will be done, and they're seeing record turnouts among Latinos. They also said in Nevada, where early voting ended on Friday night, that Donald Trump would need to win by 10% in Nevada on Election Day in order to take Nevada. They are going to be focusing now on states that don't have early voting. They're going to be in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania didn't have early voting. New Hampshire, Michigan. Hillary Clinton going out to typically blue Michigan. A lot of questions about, does that mean they think they have trouble in Michigan? But she's done a lot of radio interviews today. They say a lot of their audience are women who are in cars, and that's why so many radio interviews. But we're heading to Katy Perry, and we'll talk to you in a few minutes when we get on the ground there. Back to you.
Jennifer, thanks so much. We appreciate it. By the way, you don't like early voting, Dana Perino.
I'm not a fan. And typically Republicans are not. They tend to show up on election day because that's when you do it. But I have been persuaded by something.
Oh.
I was asking a Democrat about early voting and why they like it. And he said, it was Chuck Rocha who on the podcast TV show last week. He said that he could be for ending early voting if election day was a national holiday where nobody had to figure out childcare or whatever. Then everybody had a chance to go and vote on that day rather than trying to find ways to get around.
Well, what you heard from Jennifer Griffin, Eric, is that the Clinton people sound pretty upbeat because of early voting.
Yeah, and North Carolina came out about an hour before the showtime, said 44% of their electorate has voted already.
Yeah, so
and this is
Tuesday
3
night
days
could be
out.
early.
Yeah. Tuesday night could be early. 15%,
what do you think?
15% higher turnout. I think if I'm Trump, I do what he's doing. I would do North Carolina, I would do New Hampshire, and I would do Michigan, and just go boom, 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 stay there, and Florida. So you got to go forward and just hit each one of those states every single day before before election
What do you
time.
think about early voting?
Look, I want people to vote. So if whatever you can do to make it accessible and make it easy for people to express themselves and cast a vote, I'm for. But, when you have breaking news like happens all the time, and especially like we've seen in this election, you wonder if people would like to change their vote. And there's only a few states, that provide for that. I don't know. It's interesting, though.
Well, that was an interesting point because I think Trump was saying to some people, you can still change your vote. I don't think people.
In some states, you can.
Yeah, but that would take a lot of. That would really you'd have to turn around and go back. I don't see people doing that. Anyway, one more thing right next. Hey, so earlier this week, Kansas State University freshman Hunter Jobbins came back to his car and he found a note saying, "There's no candy bar. We took your candy bar. Saw Kit Kat in your cup holder. Love Kit Kat so much. I checked your door unlocked, but I didn't take anything but the Kit Kat. Sorry, I was hungry." Luckily, Jobbins had a sense of humor about the incident, so he tweeted it out, a la Greg Gutfeld, and the note caught the attention of Kit Kat. And they pledged to replace the bar, but they didn't just replace one candy bar. They filled Jobbins' car with 6,500 Kit Kat bars. Did you hear that, Kimberly?
Yeah, I love Kit Kat.
All
do
right.
too.
So it was a sweet endings for Jobbins and the rest of Kansas State, but Jobbins said he needs to focus more on schoolwork than candy from now on.
I know,
Absolutely.
but imagine if it was a hot day and it melted.
That'd be
That'd be
funny.
a bummer.
Right.
All right, I'll go next. The 4th annual Pedal for Patriots ride is happening right now. It's 586 miles. It's to raise money for the Navy SEAL Foundation. It was created by a wonderful guy named Christian Fitzgerald. It began 2 days ago on November 3rd in Atlanta, Georgia. The riders are cycling 100 miles plus for 6 days straight. They end on November 8th in Fort Pierce, Florida, in order to give back, support, and celebrate America's heroes, Navy SEALs. And you can follow their journey on our Facebook page and on Instagram. And thanks to Keen Reese for sending that to me for one more thing.
Very nice.
Greg.
Well, this is conditioned on whether or not I still have a job after this show. I'd say it's about 50-50.
Check your email.
Yeah, I thought that Chang and Eng thing might have gone in an interesting direction.
You got
GG show.
It just keeps going.
Live. This is live tonight. When something is live, like the 5, you get away with more. Right?
Yeah.
You get away with a lot more.
You
Get away with it. Because you know what? They can't take it back. They can't take it back. It's not like they can edit it out.
This
It's like,
just in, Hannity's going to be on.
Chris Starwalt, Charlie Hurt, Jillian Turner. I always want to say Anderson, but Jillian Turner. No, because she was in
X-Files.
X-Files.
Yeah,
Yes.
great.
So I think it's going to be a delightful show.
Scully.
And Scully.
Who'll be hosting it?
Me.
No, I don't think so.
Silly bird.
I don't think so.
Cancel.
What? What did I do now?
Nothing. We just.
I'm going to shut up. America breathes a sigh of relief.
If you do that, then Eric can go.
Good thing I have something really fun we can all talk about. If
you have 2.5 minutes.
If you're a Republican and you need a reason to vote, take a look at this full screen. These are the people who have promised to leave the country if Donald Trump wins.
Look at
And so,
voting.
well, look at what we did. I put this together on the whiteboard. Rosie O'Donnell says she'd go to Canada. Cher said she'd go to Jupiter. Samuel L. Jackson said South Africa. Jon Stewart said another planet. Amy Schumer and Chelsea Handler both said Spain, and Lena Dunham said Vancouver. So I figured
Vancouver
this
is
out.
nice.
Check this out. These two can go to Spain together, right? These two can go to Spain. Canada. So Rosie can go to Canada with Lena Dunham in Vancouver. They can both go there.
Saving money.
Jupiter and another planet, Jon Stewart and Cher. That leaves poor Samuel L. Jackson. So he has nowhere to go. He said South Africa. But so he can go down here with the people who are unspecified. Alec Baldwin, Whoopi Goldberg, and Miley Cyrus. I will personally buy you all, each one of you, first class one-way tickets to Venezuela. One way.
Venezuela.
They'd have to bring their own toilet paper.
Well, it's,
'cause
you know,
there
if
is
they don't
none.
like it here.
Yeah, they don't.
You know,
Yeah,
if they don't like
Right?
it here,
Oh, my
they
goodness.
got great health care in Venezuela.
that's
Sam
the
Jackson
whiteboard.
made.
We have a minute left, which has
Sam
never
Jackson
happened.
made
Here, I got
all
another metaphor.
Put us on a plane. I'm really going to have nightmares about that whole situation.
Why?
You know what's
freak me out.
You know what's going to happen tomorrow morning? Juan Williams and I will be on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace.
Yes, and by the way, we have a new studio here at Fox, and we are christening the new studio. You got to tune in because it's spectacular. They spent so much money to make
Will there
they don't
be-
have to spend money to
How are
make
you gonna
Dana look
christen it?
good.
Will there be champagne?
Not at that morning. What's in the morning? what's that-
Mimosas?
Mimosas.
Of course.
that's it. There you
I'm
go.
counting on you,
I
Chris
think
Wallace.
Greg has had a few.
Did he have two?
I didn't have anything to drink. This is just
Kimberly,
me
you
on
got big
Saturday.
plans for tonight?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be on Water's World and
There you go.
Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs,
Oh, so you're
7:30,
working.
Water's World, 8 to 9.
Dobbs.
Everybody's working. That's it for us. We'll see you back here on Monday. Special report. It's up next.